Hello guys, Omni here. It's that time of the week to pick back up with last night's Black Lightning. If you haven't seen last night's episode, there will be spoilers ahead, and we're just going to be talking about it from here on out. So go ahead and tune out if you haven't watched it and come back once you have. Spoiler warning is over, so we're diving into it now. This episode, I actually really enjoyed this for the most part. Things really finally started getting going. There was actually a surprise in this episode as well. But the episode opens with what seems to be like a testimonial from Jefferson. The way the dialogue and his reads are looking out is like he's like recording this like video testimonial for himself, for those behind, to kind of document what he's going. But it ends up he's actually talking to Gamby. The way he's talking and the way he's talking, what he's talking about and how he's talking about it just does not fit a conversation in which you're talking to somebody who already knows all of this, except for when we learn that they're prepping for their mission, and to get Lynn back with the situation and everything they've been through and everything that he's done, he will burn and kill whoever takes her if he has to. So he's pushed to that point at right now. So that's really interesting to see him on that side of the fence right now. We catch back up with Lynn, who is still working on the serum, and Mosin loses control to a new face, Gravedigger, played by Wayne freaking Brady. And he has enhanced strength, speed, all the physical stuff, but he also has the ability to push. Whatever he says, his will, he can push it onto you, and you have to listen to him. It's like a form of mind control. This is like variations of pushers in various media. My favorite one is Pusher from X-Files. But it's really interesting to see Wayne Brady doing this, because it's hard for me to take him seriously, but he does a good job in this. He uses his power on Lynn to make her work, and she can't stop working until they give her, what is it? She has to be continuously working on their project. They are still working on that glimmer thing that they've been trying to develop, and she decides to take it because it induces this high. It's like the extract, I think, from the green light that causes some of the side effects of hers. From what I understand, the mental stimulation that comes out of it. If I remember right, I'm not quite understanding a lot of the gibberish that is going on in the lab with Lynn now, with her and Jace. So I might be completely wrong in how this applies, but basically she just takes a huge hit of the stuff, and you see her veins creep up, and then it just charges her brain, gives her like a jolt of energy into her mind, allowing her to break free of the influence that he had put on her. This is after he walked away, and they've been working for a little while. So it's an interesting lead into that. So we know that she has that serum that allows her to temporarily grant metahuman powers to a non-metahuman. So she formulates this plan to get Gravedigger's blood so that she can steal that ability to try to escape, which is interesting because now he doesn't know she's free. Later in the episode, she comes face to face with him when he comes in to check on their progress, and she just BS's her way through all of his questioning, and asks for his blood samples, saying that she's looked at his medical files and all this stuff. And he's like a little shady about it. He's like, why have you been looking at my medical files? And she just pulls off this straight lie. He's like, oh, well, we found that your blood has a component that would help us with our research for the stabilization cure, because, you are in fact a stable meta. And he buys it. So that works out just as well. Back with the team, however, Jen is talking to Khalil, and she's trying to convince him to come along on their mission to join their team. Of course, he's still doubting himself, the fact that Painkiller is still a part of who he is, locked away in his mind. There's always that threat that it could escape, and it could be a detriment to the team. But we also cut over to Grail and Major Gray and all them training and working with Jefferson's team, trying to get them prepared, taking them through simulations on some teamwork exercises and stuff like that, where they're continuously not doing good at. There's an altercation between Brandon and Grail. It comes up because he's talking about how they need to keep practicing. They're not really ready for this mission. Building teamwork with the unit takes time. And Brandon just wants to get there because he just wants to get to Jace. and they have this little altercation. It starts to get physical, and just up until Brandon flexes his geo powers and Grail backs off. So there's definitely some tension there, and it roughly dissipate. It starts to dissipate once Brandon like calls him out on it. It's like, why do I need to be listening to you? How long have you put up with the ASA and all this crap that they did? How much of what you were doing is involved with all these kids that died and all this crap, and just like shutting them down, and they just kind of both huff, puff, and pout their way away from everything as Jefferson shows up to break up the mix there. Jefferson later even has a one-on-one with Khalil where he apologizes for not really trusting him, giving him the full effort, feeling like he could have done a lot more given how he knows everything is played out now. Again, Khalil says the same thing he said on his deathbed before, was that he's done all he could, and he appreciates it, so he doesn't accept the apology. But then again, he's got to find himself. He got to be able to trust himself before he goes on any mission, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't want to be in danger. Same kind of spiel. And this is even still kind of triggered that they even humored the idea of bringing Khalil along on this, because she doesn't trust him at all. She still has these doubts that it's not even him and all this stuff. And it's really just kind of like, really? Gonna go there? I understand, but she's like overly crude about it. TC's been messing around, and I don't know, I guess talking to the technology, he learned about the chips that were both implanted in Grail and Erica, who's the meta that can absorb kinetic energy and release it all at once. And he deactivates them. We learn this a little bit later when they actually take off. As they're formulating their plans, they're segmenting up their groups, and Gray comes to the decision that Jefferson needs to lead his separate team to go after Tobias, because Tobias is too dangerous for the inexperienced unit to go after. So he still feels very conflicted about that, because he's really there to save Lynn, and he's being forced to kind of go after Tobias. Even though he understands the logical reason behind it, it still like bothers him that he would have to go after him and not his wife, his ex-wife. It all comes together. They end up setting up, and just as they're about to leave to get on the plane to get there, Khalil shows up, joins the team, and they all take off to fly their way to Markovia. And that's when, while they're on their way there, Grail has this conversation with Jefferson where he tells him about the kill order that they've been given ahead of time. And that's when TC tells the team that, I saw that. The technology told me, your phone told me that you had this chip put in you. So I went ahead and disabled the kill code. You're both free. So that kind of plan backfired on Major Gray for sure. When they get there, Jefferson dive bombs out of the plane onto a group of soldiers and just AoE strikes the crap out of them with a giant dome of lightning. It's pretty sweet. They just infiltrate. Even Grace goes in using her camouflage ability to get into the security panel that hooks Gambi into the system. The whole thing's pretty interesting. It's not shot the best. The way they handle it, even some of the action scenes in this episode was not the best, but it was still fun to watch them go through all of it. They come across this sealed door that's not on the maps that Jefferson's lightning can't penetrate because it's grounded into the earth. So it's dispersing the electricity out and not really causing an effect. Even Thunder, it's so reinforced she can't break it down. So what they decide to do is have Thunder beat the crap out of Erica so that she could keep storing up the kinetic energy so that she could just charge the door and release it all in one go, because it stocks up in her body exponentially. So it just doubles and doubles and doubles and doubles and doubles again. And they just blow the door down. They all get into it. Jefferson finds Tobias. They have a tussle, a verbal tussle, and he breaks them out. Khalil stumbles upon Gravedigger, and they just go at it, and we get to see a little glimmer of his super speed as he just kind of like flashes right up to him, starts beating the crap out of Khalil, and Khalil holds his own for a little while, but Gravedigger starts just beating the unholy crap out of him. Brandon ends up running off once they found out where Jace was located in the compound, and goes to just straight murk her. And when he finds her, he just starts going all earthquakey right on her. She doesn't even know who this kid is. Before he could actually do anything to Jace, Grail catches up with him and knocks him out and carries him away, and also helps Jace escape with the team. After Gravedigger beats the crap out of Khalil, Khalil manages to roll away and get behind one of the emergency doors that shuts, leaving him safe. But then Gravedigger later stumbles upon Jefferson with this pulse rifle that's designed to take out Black Lightning and just knocks him the crap out. He even double taps, and I'm like, did he just kill Jefferson? Did we just literally trade Lynn for Jeff? Oh, Lynn. She injected herself with the serum and mind controls Mosin. He kills the guards, and then she mind controls him to keep shocking himself as he escorts her out of the building until she finally finds Jen, in which point she tells him to shock himself until he passes out, and he does. Before everybody can get away, everybody's loading into the chopper to escape. Even though they haven't got Jefferson, there's no word from Jefferson yet. And before they take off, Gravedigger makes it up to the surface and pushes the entire group. The only people not affected by it is Lynn, because she tries to push back, but it doesn't work on him. And of course, Khalil's immune to it because of all of his cybernetics and the chip in his brain. So everybody else is frozen. And for their safety, Lynn agrees to go back with him. So I was like, did we just lose Lynn and Jeff? And as she goes up to Gravedigger, he grabs her, and then Jefferson just flies in out of nowhere and just freaking Hadokens the crap out of him, like impales him on what seems to be like this giant rod of electricity and just lifts him into the air. Like he's burning to the point where like you see the blue lightning glowing from out of his his mouth cavity and his eyes, which is last time we saw that is when he cooked people to death. So I'm pretty confident that guy might be a one-off and die. I mean, it's Wayne Brady, so maybe he wouldn't be back. Is this the last we've seen him? He is a meta, so he can probably take out more. He might even have a healing factor, so we might not be done with him, but they make it look like he just straight killed his ass. So I don't know. Who knows? Overall, and then they escape. The end. That's the end of the episode. Overall, like I said, I liked a lot of the character interactions, except for Anissa. I think she's being very one-sided on this and very detached from it. Like, I don't understand. There's just no, like, Khalil's dead. That's not Khalil. If Khalil's not dead, I can't trust that. He's not real. I'm like, you know these things. There are facts here. Come on, please. Everybody else seems to be on board. Everybody else in this, TC even getting to the point where he's integrated with the team really well. I really like how he's playing up. Even Brandon's costume, if you would even call it that, was pretty cool. The look, it was like the tattered kind of black cloaks kind of thing. I don't know. I really like the way that looked and how he got in there. He just didn't really get to actually do anything aside from shake some stuff. But everything else, I really liked the flow of this episode. I liked everything. Everybody had something to do as far as infiltrating the building. And Lynn wasn't necessarily helpless, and she was able to devise a plan with Jace and their own kind of wits to actually outsmart everybody there. So I'm curious to see how far they maybe would have gotten on their own. I thought that could have been an interesting thing to explore, like Jefferson and all of them fail and then she gets out. I don't know. It almost looked like that was going to be the case towards the end of the episode, but then they just kind of, everything ended up okay. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. It seems like we're finally getting to the main conflict of this whole Markovia storyline that has been set up for so long now. We got a little bit of a preview, but I'm not going to go into that because I don't like kind of spoilers or anything like that for next episode until we get to it. We'll get to it and we'll talk about it. So what do you guys think of this episode? I'd love to know your thoughts. We can have that conversation down in the comments after the video. But yeah, if you like the video, guys, please support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I would really appreciate it. We're keeping up with the show each week as we move forward in this post-crisis world on the CW DC TV universe. I guess it's still technically the Arrowverse, so I'm just like kind of shaky over what to call it currently. I mean, Arrow did literally create this universe now, so it is his. So the Arrowverse. Anyway, sorry, going off on a whole unrelated tangent. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next week with the next Black Lightning, and also tune in tonight for my reaction highlights for the new episode of The Flash. But thank you guys for tuning in. Catch you all next week. Take care, everybody.